altar on your wedding day, ready for the happiest moment of your life. But your parents have a different plan. They want your sister in a white gown walking down the aisle before you at your wedding. Sounds insane, right? Well, they tried it, and my husband and I made sure it backfired in the most spectacular way possible. If you've ever been underestimated, disrespected, or treated like the family afterthought, hit that subscribe button right now. Give this video a like if you believe in poetic justice, and stick around because this is one of those revenge stories where karma doesn't just knock. It dances down the aisle. For as long as I can remember, my parents loved my sister more. Not the subtle kind of favoritism you can excuse. Oh wait, this was blatant, undeniable, almost theatrical favoritism. If she accused me of something, I was punished immediately. If I accused her, I was a liar. Proof didn't matter. At birthday parties, my cake had to be in the flavor she liked. Never mind, family trips. Always where she wanted to go. My victories were ignored. My mistakes paraded. Her smallest achievements celebrated like she'd split the atom by the time we were teens. Her cruelty had sharpened. She had no friends, whether they ditched her or she pushed them away. I'll never know. But when she noticed that I had friends, she made it her mission to take them from me. She told lies. She accused my friends of stealing. She manipulated my parents until they banned me from hanging out with anyone. Why can't you just be like your sister and enjoy family time? They'd say, well, my family time meant sitting quietly while my sister made me her emotional punching bag. What saved me? Extended family. My cousins saw through it all. When I once blurted out that I wasn't allowed to have friends because my sister didn't, it reached the adults. My parents were furious, grounded me, but their facade cracked, and eventually my sister switched schools just to escape the embarrassment of her loneliness being exposed. But the new school didn't fix things. If anything, her cruelty grew. When I finally got my first boyfriend, I didn't even want him to meet my family. But my parents forced the introduction. That's when my sister tried to flirt with him, right in front of my parents. When he rejected her, she flipped the story. She claimed he hit on her. And of course, my parents believed her. That pattern repeated. Boy after boy, she tried to sabotage me. Eventually, my parents told me I had bad judgment and shouldn't date anyone at all. They twisted her lies into proof of my unworthiness. Meanwhile, when she brought home a boyfriend, they rolled out the red carpet until he inevitably disappeared, and suddenly he was trash. But no one ever questioned her. My sister had more allowance, later curfews, freedom to go wherever she pleased. For me, nothing but restrictions. When I pointed out the hypocrisy, they moved the goalpost every time because she's older, because you can't be trusted. Always some excuse to make me less. When it came time for college, my parents went all in on my sister, paid for everything, celebrated her acceptance like she'd been chosen by the gods. When my turn came, they told me flat out they had no money for me. If I wanted to live at home, I'd have to pay rent, bills, everything. If I wanted to go to college, I'd have to ask their permission before taking on debt because they didn't trust my judgment. But here's the thing. I had been planning for this. I studied relentlessly because I knew my only way out was a scholarship. And I got a full ride. I announced it publicly, thanking my parents on social media so they couldn't backtrack without looking like monsters. At first, they bragged about me, then they soured clearly, influenced by my sister, who was struggling in college. They tried to scare me into quitting, but I didn't budge. College became my escape. For the first time in my life, I was free. Then I met my husband, and here's where the story starts to flip. If I'm the quiet, conflict-avoiding type, my husband is the exact opposite. Quick-witted, sharp-tongued, never afraid to clap back. Where I freeze, he fights. Where I cry, he plots. Naturally, when we got engaged, we decided to keep things simple. We wanted to save money for a dream honeymoon in Europe. But since most of my family lived in my hometown, we chose to host the wedding there. And that's when my parents dropped the bomb. My husband went alone to meet them, secretly recording the conversation. Instead of congratulations, they gave him a condition: they would pay for our wedding if my sister got to walk down the aisle first in a wedding dress at my wedding. Their excuse: it wasn't fair for a younger sister to marry before the older one, so my sister should get the experience first, with pictures, a cake, the whole deal. When my husband came home with that recording, I was shocked. Even after everything, I thought, surely not this. But my husband, he was grinning ear to ear. We can screw them over so bad, he said. That's when the plan was born. We pretended to agree. My husband convinced them that since I hate conflict, I wouldn't make a scene if surprised. But to seal the deal, he suggested they pay for everything. That way, I'd feel too grateful to object. They fell for it. My sister was giddy with excitement. My parents thought they were geniuses. Meanwhile, we played them like fiddles. At every vendor meeting, we picked the cheapest option. Then my husband secretly brought my sister there, acted regretful, and let her demand the most expensive package for her big day. My parents caved every time. Catering, top tier, photography, premium, flowers, extravagant, all billed to them. We called it back pay for emotional damages. And the best part, they never left a trail. My husband convinced them I was controlling and checked his phone constantly, so nothing could be written down. Everything was face to face. No proof. Finally, the wedding day arrived. The plan was for my sister to sneak in, fully dressed as a bride, and walk down the aisle before me while I was stuck backstage. By the time I realized it'd be too late, but we had hired professional security. Their job: do not let my sister inside. Period. So, when the music started and my father stood waiting at the entrance for his real bride, the doors opened, and it was me. The look on his face was priceless. He stuttered, glanced behind me, as if expecting my sister to materialize. His phone rang. It was her. He mumbled something and left me standing there. Gasps filled the room. My friend, planted in the audience, shouted, "What did he mean? It wasn't supposed to be you," and stormed out to check. She created chaos outside, stalling my parents and sister while I walked down the aisle. My husband's father quickly took my dad's place, walking me proudly forward. The whispers, the scandalette all melted away when I reached my husband. His first words, "That was Oscar-worthy crying back there. You crushed it! We married right there." While outside, chaos reigned. My sister had shown up in full bridal attire. Security blocked her, calmly insisting she must be at the wrong venue because there was already a bride inside. She screamed. My dad threatened the police. My mom begged. The security guard didn't budge. Family members rushed out, horrified as the truth unfolded. My parents scrambled, insisting my husband had agreed to all of this. When he was dragged outside, he denied everything with a straight face. Why would I ever agree to something that insane? He asked, "Where's the proof?" They had none, because he'd made sure of it, but my sister collapsed on the floor, wailing, kicking her legs like a toddler. My dad turned purple with rage. My mom sobbed. Everyone who had doubted me for years now saw them exposed. Liars, manipulators, delusional. They were eventually escorted out, my dad dragging my sister's flailing body. And inside, we celebrated lavishly on their dime. They tried calling me after. Furious, my sister sent me unhinged messages blaming me for her humiliation, calling my husband a snake who fooled them for months. My husband gleefully screenshotted everything and sent it to the entire family group chat, exposing their harassment. And then silence. Total, glorious silence. For once in my life, they didn't get to ruin something for me. They didn't just fail, they humiliated themselves in front of everyone, and the girl who was always overlooked, dismissed, and sabotaged. She walked down the aisle to applause, not shame that it wasn't just a wedding, it was vindication. This story isn't just about revenge, it's about reclaiming power. Sometimes justice doesn't come from waiting for karma. Sometimes you have to craft it yourself. And let me tell you, when it finally hits, it's sweeter than any wedding cake. If you've ever dreamed of serving poetic justice to someone who wronged you, smash that like button right now. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this, and let me know in the comments what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen. Because remember, revenge is best served not just cold, but catered, photographed, and delivered in a wedding dress